where I think it gets controversial and where, your attacks are coming in from.
Sure.
It was this piece where you then talked about the relative value of voting, of a person's voting rights, a parent versus somebody who isn't. Here's that piece of the original remarks and stuff for.
The Democrats are talking about giving the vote to 16-year-olds, but let's do this instead. Let's give votes to all children in this country, but let's give control over those votes to the parents of those children. When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality. And all the usual suspects will criticize me about this in the coming days. Well, doesn't this mean that non-parents don't have as much of a voice as parents? Doesn't this mean that parents get a bigger say in how our democracy functions? Yes, absolutely.
So do you stand by that?
Well, Megyn, look, I'm obviously doing a thought experiment there where Democrats have talked about giving children the right to vote. And I'm saying, well, if we're going to give children the right to vote, shouldn't we give parents the say over how that vote, in so many other areas of life, we say that parents determine what's best for their children. If we're going to give kids the right to vote, it might as well be true in that scenario too. So I think, again, the point that I'm trying to make here, Megyn, is that having kids is a profoundly life-altering thing. It's a fundamentally good thing. And the Democratic Party has become very anti-child in their messaging and in their public policy. That is what I want to change. And that is what I think the Republican Party stands for. We're the party of parents. We're the party of kids. And we want to fight for parents and children to have good lives. I have to say, Megyn, just one of the things that's been profoundly dishonest about the media, and of course they're dishonest, they always do this, but they've taken this incredibly out of context. They say that I'm opposed to IVF or that I'm criticizing people who have fertility problems. Megyn, I said explicitly in my remarks that I wasn't talking about people who couldn't have children. I was talking about people who have turned anti-child into the ethic of their entire party. That's a fundamentally different thing, and it's obvious that the Democrats don't want to own up to the fact that their party has become very anti-family. You have Hollywood celebrities saying, oh, well, J.D. Vance, what if your daughter suffered fertility problems? Well, first of all, that's disgusting because my daughter is 2 years old. And second of all, if she had fertility problems, as I said in that speech, I would try everything I could to try to help her because I believe families and babies are a good thing. That's the whole point, is if you believe families and babies are a good thing, you should be trying to promote life. You should try to promote the fact that we want to have a good family policy in this country. That is what's so profoundly wrong about where the Democrats have gone. And I think we have to fight back against this, Megyn. I think a lot of people, the media has been attacking me and this is how it goes. We cannot give up an inch on this. We're the pro-family party. I think I want to keep us that way.
Just to, I would like to talk about the IVF because as far as I understand it, you oppose the Democrats' bill on IVF, like allowing it in all the states, but also providing funding through everybody's insurance for it, which is more controversial. But you supported Ted Cruz's and Katie Britt's bill to protect IVF, if my memory is correct. But I guess I'll just ask you now, where do you stand on IVF?
Well, first of all, Megyn, I know beautiful children. I mean, kids that play at my house with my kids that have been brought into the world through IVF. Of course, we want to make it easier for moms and dads to choose life if of course, they're in a terrible situation where they have fertility problems. I think the problem with the Democrats' approach on this is they're trying to take away religious liberty. And you just go back to Kamala Harris, Megyn. This is a person, of course, who's tried to say that members of the Knights of Columbus should not serve in public office. This is a person who's tried to say that Catholic hospitals and Christian hospitals should have to do IVF in the way the Democrats want them to do it. I'm talking about religious liberty here. I think we have to protect the rights of Christian hospitals to operate the way that they want to operate. But of course, that's totally consistent with promoting fertility treatments for parents who need it. And I believe in this stuff, again, because I believe babies are a profound moral good. I think it transforms society. I've seen friends of mine become totally different people when they became fathers. I know my wife would say the same thing about her friends who became mothers. This is a good thing. And I hate that our politics has become so profoundly anti-child. I want to change that, Megyn. I'm going to keep on fighting on this.
And honestly, so profoundly pro-victim. I have seen, but it's yet another instance in which you see all these left-wing politicians, people rush to play the victim in response to these comments, right? Like
Yes.
Mark Kelly and Gabby Giffords, who were not included in the scope of your remarks. You did not name them, but they've rushed, of course, because he's being considered reportedly for her VP, for her running mate. And so they ran out to offer the following comment. And, Jennifer Aniston was another, like taking issue, as I mentioned in the intro, as if your comments were about her personally. But I'll say something to Jennifer Aniston. You know what? I don't know what your child situation is, but you should read this piece in the New York Times. You should read this piece that says as follows: liberal conventional wisdom encourages people to spend their 20s on journeys of personal and professional self-discovery and self-fulfillment. Children are treated as a bonus round, something to get to only after completing a long list of achievements, getting a degree, forging a satisfying and well-established career, buying a house, cultivating the ideal romantic partnership, and making the point that this is an empty life, that without the ultimate goal of children, you are not, they write as follows: having children remains the most basic and accessible way for most of us to affirm the value of our lives and that of others. And if you realize that too late, you might be feeling bitter. You might find yourself in a situation where you have no choice but IVF because your most fruitful childbearing years have passed you. It's a choice every woman has to make. It's not anybody else's fault if you choose to pursue career and find yourself in that situation. As frankly, I did, but I got lucky and IVF worked for me. Okay. So in any event, I want to go back because sure. Gabby Giffords and Mark Kelly are taking aim at you, saying as follows. Gabby Giffords, of course, was shot in a terrible mass shooting incident in which she was the target several years ago, and she's married to Mark Kelly, former astronaut, now senator. She writes, Vice President Kamala Harris is a proud mom of 2 remarkable stepchildren, and so am I. Captain Mark Kelly and I were trying to have a baby through IVF before I was shot, and that dream was stolen from us. To suggest we are somehow lesser is disgraceful. How do you respond to that?
Well, of course, first of all, Kamala Harris, I don't know her family situation. I've read in the media that she's got 2 stepkids. I wish her stepchildren and Kamala Harris and her whole family the very best. The point is not that she's lesser. The point is that her party has pursued a set of policies that are profoundly anti-child. These people want to conflate the personal situation here with the fact that I'm making an argument that our entire society has become skeptical and even hateful towards the idea of having kids. I mean, you have young women and young men who say, we don't want to have children because of climate change. We don't want to have children, of course, because housing prices are too expensive. And that's a concern I take seriously and I think is a very real problem. But people have to remember that when you look back on your life, you talk to people, the thing that they remember most is not their career or their education, it's their family. And I just want us to be a country that's pro-family. Of course, what happened to Gabby Giffords was terrible. I wish her the best. Of course, Kamala Harris has a great family. I wish them all the best. But why are they pursuing a set of policies that make having families harder? Why are they wanting to mask toddlers years into the pandemic? Why are they saying that we should get rid of the child tax credit, which lowers taxes for working families with children? They are creating an anti-family and anti-child society. And I think it's important for Republicans to fight back against this, Megyn, and not take the bait here. We wish the best for these people's families, but they should not use their families as a pretext to pursue all these ridiculous anti-family policies for the rest of Americans.
Well, I was going to say, in defense of Kamala Harris and other childless leftists, plenty of leftists with children tried to mask our children interminably and did not care about their own kids suffering or ours. Last comment on this, then we'll move on. The childless cat lady. Would you like to comment on that? That reportedly has many conservative women outraged, though when I clicked on the Newsweek article suggesting as much, I saw 3 quoted.
Look, Megyn, I've heard from a lot of conservative women and frankly, a lot of liberal women who said, I'm actually glad that you pointed out that there's become something profoundly anti-family in our public policy and in our public conversation. Obviously, it was a sarcastic comment. I've got nothing against cats. I've got nothing against dogs. I've got 1 dog at home and I love them, Megyn. But look, this is not, people are focusing so much on the sarcasm and not on the substance of what I actually said. And the substance of what I said, Megyn, I'm sorry, it's true. It is true that we become anti-family. It is true that the left has become anti-child. It is simply true that it's become way too hard to raise a family. You know, Megyn, I myself had a lot of step parents when I was growing up. I certainly was enriched by some of those step parents and frankly not enriched by others. My own wife is a working mother. You hear leftists say, JD wants to keep women in the home. My own wife, I've supported her career for my entire life. I'm proud of it. But because I'm proud of it and because I supported my wife, Megyn, I've seen the fact that it's hard to be a working mom, that the corporate world is fundamentally hostile to working mothers and working fathers because we have made stupid and bad choices as a country. I want us to make different choices. And I think it's shameful for the Democrats to hide behind their personal circumstances when they have supported policies that have made it harder on working moms and dads. And they're still this very day doing the exact same thing.
You mentioned Usha. Joy Reid, in that montage of media reaction I played, suggested that what your comments get to is that the only valid version of America is a white woman who stays at home. So that's your position, according to her. You only value white stay-at-home moms.
It's just so disgusting, Megyn. And look, I love my wife so much. I love her because she's who she is. Obviously, she's not a white person, and we've been attacked by some white supremacists over that. But I love Usha. She's such a good mom. She's such a brilliant lawyer, and I'm so proud of her. But yes, her experience has given me some perspective in the way in which it's really hard for working families in this country.
Do you think America is headed in the right direction? Unfortunately, the next generation does not understand the values that have made America the greatest nation on earth. But PragerU is helping to counter that. PragerU is a conservative nonprofit that promotes American values through educational videos that reach millions of young people every day. Right now, PragerU has an amazing opportunity. If you donate any amount, even just $1, they will send you PragerU American flag socks made in the USA as a thank you. Make sure to go to prageru.com/socks to make your donation. You can support a great organization and express your love of American values in style while you do it. Your donation will help PragerU reach more people with their videos, which is needed now more than ever. Make a 100% tax-deductible donation at prageru.com/socks and get your socks today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.